just waiting for the chorus. That's it. Thank you very much. That was the only part of the whole presentation that was going to be in German. So now we are going to switch into English because we have some English speakers in the audience and we have an English speaker right next to me. When we decided to go for it and get into this event and participate, and Yannick called me, Jonah and me, we directly said, okay, we share a big passion and that's what we want to talk about. And I think it's even two passions we are sharing, but feel free to correct me, of course. I'm already talking in the rhetorical we, but I don't know if we're there yet, but let's see. I think number one is people. That's what unites us all, hopefully, because we're all HR people here. So there is one big passion for people, and then for organizations and technology. And we both feel that in at least the bubble we are in, so it will be super interesting to know, to hear, and to feel what you think. But that in the bubble we are in, there is like two sentiments right now, right? If we look at HR and AI, and that is, on the one hand, there is a lot of fear. People who reject it, people who think, oh, we're fucked. You know, like, I'm going to lose my job, everything will change, we have a huge problem. And yes, of course, there is two sides. But you have, I think, two examples sitting in front of you tonight who are more optimistic in that case and who think that the usage of AI, especially in HR circumstances, will be super beneficial for all of us. And it's not going to destroy jobs, but it's going to create new jobs. It's not going to kill us. It is going to help us focus more on what is really important, and that's people. But we're going to get into that. Before I talk too much, do you want to add something?
Yeah, hello, Susanna. And I mean, Felix just gave a great intro. I mean, people, technology. We live in a crazy time right now. In our life, we're going to see some major transformation. AI is changing a lot, as we all are aware of, and we're heading towards a place where we haven't even seen what's possible yet with it. And it's going very fast, very, very, very fast. And I don't know, I'm from Australia. I've been living in Cologne for some years now. I met my wife here, I've settled. It's my second home. And I've been lucky enough to join the STARTPLATZ team and sort of develop some ideas around how we can support businesses and startups move ahead with AI. And it's a real honor to be here and really happy to contribute to the community. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit around the concept that Felix and I have been developing, which also has a little gift in it for you to experiment with some AI magic. So we're going to get to that as well. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let me see how to get there.
So, I mean, we're at this critical stage where HR has to evolve. I mean, it is going to, it is, you're all aware of it, you're all taking action with it, and it's just important to be really aware of that. Ultimately, I mean, Felix, maybe the first point, this is something you've been talking about a lot.
That's what I love most about AI, especially if we talk about people and culture teams, right? Because the usage of AI helps us to create more time to do what we are paid for, which is talking to people and creating culture rather than sitting over Excel sheets or reportings or whatever. And we're going to show you a couple of tools, of course, but the example I love most in my daily life right now is, since a couple of weeks, I have a new note taker that will join our Teams meetings. And it's so good because I can focus on you, right? We are having a conversation on Teams, and I don't need to write anything down anymore. And in the end, I can say it, hey, that was a conversation with the client. So it will give me one example and one output. Then I can say, that was a candidate, will look different. And that helps me so much. So everything we have there is more time with people.
And I think fundamentally for the organizations, for the CEOs and for the C-levels that have to make strategic decisions for the whole organization, they can start to think that, and we get into this a bit more, but we can create more meaningful opportunities for the customers, for our employees, and strategically we can sort of guide towards growth opportunities, seeing actual employees more as a growth lever than a cost, which is a fundamental shift in the way the economics and structures of businesses are, and that's the time we live in. We've got these tools and we've got these opportunities,
and we really think that in this discussion of is AI going to reduce the amount of people that will be working? And of course, that's a fear and that's a factor if we don't take people with us, if we don't educate them, if we don't understand it ourselves. But I think we're both ambassadors of let's use AI to strategically grow, to employ more people in the end rather than less, and people who can really focus on other people. But we're getting there.
So, I mean, rather than talk to this slide, does anyone have any challenges in the room that you would like to share? Is there anything going in your organization at the moment that you're faced with in terms of this topic? Anyone? Yes, please.
I just wanted to make sure that nobody else wanted to ask something. But the funny thing is, even if I didn't know it, when we just talked about what is our expectation for the meeting today, I just said, like, there's one thing really that I've been looking for, not spending more time on adding something in the HRS system that takes longer than the discussion that I had or the conversation that I had. So that was funny that you just replied on this one, and having a smart note taker that helps, but also automatically translate maybe words already in topics. So not taking one word with each other, but like if we talk about the people development plan for that person, that really puts everything together already as a conclusion. That is something that could be very helpful to make it much more easy for me. And of course, taking all into the respect of the data protection needs of the people. So making sure that they feel comfortable with that and safe with that. So that is something that could help me right now with the different works, because also in regards to the translation. Because right now, what I'm struggling with is using the ChatGPT, etc. But before I can use it, even if I get a paid account, I make sure that everything is out there, private information, company details, company secrets, etc. So that takes also quite a bit. So having a tool which helps me on this one, really making sure that I'm not following the data protection, but also the Company Secret Act of the European Union. So both could be interesting to me.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, please.
Yes, I wanted to basically face the same GDPR. For us, it's not about finding the right tools or solutions. It's more like the GDPR challenge to find a tool that is actually compliant with everything that needs to be kept in mind when we talk about HR, because it's sensitive information, and we have a very, I would say, not so optimistic GDPR officer. So for her, it's really hard to get through all the processes and tools and stuff. So if you have a solution for this, please tell us.
Fantastic. Well, it comes down to, do you want to build or buy? Because, yeah, I mean, there's going to be many more options in the future. But it's a difficult question. Yeah. But I mean, I think there's a huge move towards tech. I mean, generally, just to offer you a perspective, which is a little bit more high level, the sort of competitive difference of technology is reducing rapidly. So what used to take 6 months and 300,000 euros to build an internal system with 3 developers is now it's possible, but also in the future it's going to be even more possible to find and customize these solutions rapidly. And the point of this presentation today is to sort of say, all right, now when we're there, when we're at that point, how are we preparing our people plan? How are we going to leverage the technology and to deal with all these issues of data protection and all this, which are very relevant and real situations. But at some point, we're going to the tools are going to adapt to the EU Act, and we're all going to learn that at some point. But we just, in another few years, we've got to also start being prepared for how to grow the organisation.
Absolutely. And then in compliance with GDPR, and data protection, of course, with the EU Act from the European Union, which is super important in terms of recruitment because it's a high-risk field. And, of course, what is typically for Germany is the AGG, right? Like, so the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 we are complying with that.
Equal Treatment Act.
How?
Equal Treatment Act.
What he said.
So one thing again from this sort of helicopter like future perspective, because at the end of the day, AI is going to completely disrupt multiple industries, which means there is going to be a lot of job displacement. But the question is, how are you engineering your business to have an opportunity with this amount of people that are on the market? How are you gearing your business so you can actually employ more people into your organization to do meaningful work and create more revenue-based opportunities for them and for your organization?
And as we already heard, I mean, you said that perfectly, right? Like for a people business like Denkwerk, it is, and for all of us, it will be so important to win the right people, to keep the right people, as we heard before, with the benefits, everything around, that we can transform their jobs in a way that all the tasks that, if I say nobody, it's not accurate, but most people don't like to do the administrative work, right? And if we find a way to implement AI in that way, that people will have the freedom to look up from their computers and focus on people again and on meaningful connections, on growth and innovation, because what we already know about AI is, right, it's replicating things that are put into it. So we always will need people to be creative, especially in creative environments, to say the machine what to do.
And entrepreneurship. I mean, if you think about the percentage of the population which are trained in entrepreneurship, there's an opportunity now for more employees to be more entrepreneurial, because there's more resources, there's more availability to new opportunities, to create things and so forth. So that's also a factor. And this is essentially part of the work that I do with STARTPLATZ. We have an organization called the AI Hub, and this is really helping businesses get started with automating their processes and following the sort of data protection guidelines and doing everything that they can do with the organization. And I think right now, if you look at organizations, there is a real conversation going around cost cost management. And essentially a lot of organizations, as their AI strategy is to actually reduce cost, which is very short-sighted. You know, yes, there's things to be reduced, but at the same time, there's things to invest in and to develop for. Maybe jump to the next slide. And there's a lot of tools on the market. I mean, I'm not going to share with you.
Jungle out there.
I'm not going to share with you tools at this moment because it's all a bit overwhelming, but there's a lot of tools out there and it's happening every day. New tools are forming. So by using Google and ChatGPT and Gemini and all these platforms, you can really source some great tools to be aware of. And right now it's a case really everyone needs to just try and experiment and take time to learn and understand how these sort of things work.
And you have to. I mean, we speak to HR departments every day, and they tell us, no, we are ready. We are using a lot of AI. We are ready. And then I ask, okay, what are you doing? Yeah, we use ChatGPT to form our job descriptions. I'm like, yeah. And they stop there. And we already know if you don't move now, you're not going to move anymore. Right? Like a couple of years ago, Daniela, who's in the back there, designed this one here, which says new work is a polite way of saying that if you don't change the way you work now, digital age will most likely fuck you over. And that's what's going to happen even quicker now. Because when we designed that one, of course, we have been talking about AI already, but not in the case as today. So we need to make sure that we pick the right tools for us. And yeah, I know it's overwhelming. There is 1 million of them, but we have tested many. We already, like in our discussion before, everybody said, everybody said, you know, we could go on for ages. Yeah, I can show you a couple of tools that are mind-blowing. For example, just the song that you heard before, it took me 3 minutes this morning, right? Like, it's insane.
Do you have favorite tools so far?
I'm sorry?
Do you have favorite tools so far that you use?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I got back there.
Let me answer that with a slightly different perspective, because I think what's really important for companies right now is to understand that AI is not a complete solution. AI is a part of an ecosystem. And if you take a normal process, it doesn't mean that the whole process is redefined by AI. It might be just one simple process. So an example of this is in sales and marketing. You can build AI systems to research and prioritize leads for you. Typically, this work took hours, like days. I mean, when you get a list of 1,000 companies, going through and doing proper research and so forth on each of these can take a long time, and it's not the most fun work, and it's not that, you know, it's not that effective either. But when you utilize tools, you can actually automate these processes and get better research quicker, faster, and prioritize and save time for your sales team, which are the driving force of your business. So, you know, that's an example of a process which is disrupted. And the best thing about this is it gives your sales teams more time to spend with the customers. So they're not just spamming out a list of 1,000 companies. They're actually prioritizing and spending more meaningful time with your customers, which ultimately ends up in better sales. But, yeah.
I think the most important question you need to answer when choosing tools, internally and externally, if we do HR, is the reason why. Why are we using that? What for? And especially to people who apply and who are in our recruitment cycle, we need to be absolutely transparent where AI comes into play and why. I can give you an example. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening here, but I can give you an example if you like. I have tested a tool that is called Wetten AI. You cannot use it on the German market, unfortunately, because it's not GDPR compliant, but it is a tool that will conduct whole interviews. So you give it your job description and you give it a CV. And if I apply at your company, I load up my CV there, I put apply, and then I can say whenever I like, it has my number, I say now, and then my phone will ring, and I'll have an interview. And in the beginning, I thought, okay, let me just try that creepy thing, right? And when I hung up the phone, I was thrilled because the experience was extremely good. You could even, when the AI was working, you heard like, it's really insane. And in the beginning, I thought, okay, how could I implement that in my work? And I thought, okay, I mean, we do different kinds of recruiting, but me personally, I do executive search. And I thought, okay, if I let a CEO conduct an AI interview, he will tell me to, or she will tell me, to leave. But then, if I answer the reason why, and I tell you, hey, thank you very much for applying. I got 200 applications for that role. You're a great CEO, but unfortunately for this one, it will not be yours. I don't have the time to conduct 200 interviews, but I give you a great opportunity. You can talk to my AI agent that will give you the competitive edge to be in my CRM with all the data top-notch on top, and you will have a great experience. Everybody said yes. Great, thank you, what a service. But if I would just tell you, yeah, you need to talk to my AI agent because I don't have time, that will be bad.
In this case, I will try to do it in English. Maybe you need to help me.
We will. We're here for you.
We have a case where we have got a client who needs a lot of low-skilled employees, like not 10, not 20, like more than 100. And we try to recruit them by AI interviews.
Yep.
And I think it will work for us because those are just 2 to 3 minutes interviews, and the employee or the interested candidate can talk whenever he or she would like.
That's amazing.
At night, and it's perfectly fine for the kind of employee we need for this low-skilled profile. So it's the best practice for us.
Absolutely, it's super great.
Is this a standardized process, like a Q&A assistant?
Yes.
You can ask, okay.
If you like, I mean, it will take too much time now, but later on in the Q&A or in the networking, if you want, we can still have it here and put the volume on, and I show you how that works. It's breathtaking. Yeah. Of course, sorry.
So the data protection issue with the tool you were just talking about is due to the where do we save data on this?
Yeah, because you need to upload critical personal data because it needs your CV and it will store it on the one hand, so it's on US servers, so you have a problem there. And I would not use it for that, but the tool I show you later on has the ability to decide. It has 2 options. Number one, it will already rate your CV in comparison to the job description, and it will rate how the conversation went. And by that, of course, we are in high risk because that will decide, are you moving on, yes or no. You can switch that off, so of course we won't use it, but for me sometimes it's just interesting to see what is already out there. That's like next level shit.
I have not the skills at all, but it shouldn't be too difficult to write this kind of application, which is data safe, and as you said, so you don't do the decision by the tool because this is not allowed for some reasons, and you just solve somehow the data security. So it shouldn't be that kind of a problem because I really like this tool.
It's really great, but you will see that's a bit like Jono said before. Time will tell. We'll be getting there. It will take a bit longer. I think now, I don't know who of you saw what are the new Apple products going to be, but they will have ear plugs that will directly translate. So if I speak English here and you will hear the German translation, that will be switched off in the European Union due to GDPR. but of course just for a while. They will adopt, change it, and then get back into it. But I think we need to move on, otherwise.
Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. This is actually something you can take a photo of, put into ChatGPT, and ask to translate, and it will create a prompt for you, which you can run through any job application. Who's game to try? Take a photo. We don't have to do it live now, but take it for.
And we'll send everything later to you as well. You'll get everything.
But I was just wanting to use the AI. So you can actually transcribe this, take this photo, transcribe it in Gemini, and you will have a prompt ready to go. And this is a bit of fun. So we've been thinking about what AI can do for a company. And because I'm an English speaker, and what I want for the world is to thrive. I don't know what's the German translation for thrive. Do you know? There is no. Well, guys, come on.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So maybe we're going to do another one for 𝗙𝗏𝗏. But anyways, the point is, this talks about transformation, holistic growth, resilience, innovation, value and velocity, and empowerment. And these factors can help you redefine what a job is. So if you take a job from your job board and apply these keywords and these concepts and say recreate the job based on this, you get an interesting outcome which you can take from and start to develop a concept. Essentially, from my perspective, the job market needs to be, like, jobs need to be redefined. Like we're going to, over the next 5 years, we're going to be heavily redefining what a job is. So this is something just to consider and play around with. And obviously, this is not like this. It's a bit of a joke to some degree, but give it a try and see what you think. Make it your own. I guess that's the message.
You're too humble, my friend. Because it's not a joke. It's really like when he showed me that first, I really liked it. I already played around with it. And it's a great framework to check our own job descriptions and to see like how can we transform a job to make it AI ready? What will people need to thrive in an environment and in the times of AI? So that's a really great one. We have, like when we played around, we met on Saturday afternoon to create this presentation, and we had so many ideas what to do, with that tool where you have the conversation with the AI and how to show you everything. But we can do that. We can do that later on.
And this is again, we'll send you the slides, but this is just a bit of an overview of how HR is adapting. So you've got to be aware of automation. You've got to be aware of the changing workforce. You've got to be aware, as you already are, of remote and hybrid. Data-driven decisions is going to be the bedrock. Decisions are going to be made from data. That's now a much easier thing to do than it was 5-10 years ago. And employee experience focus, which we've already been talking about tonight, and how to really make work rewarding and human and beneficial for people, to retain them and to inspire them and to grow their abilities.
Ta-da! No, really, I think our key message here is AI, yes, has a part on it that can be critical. We need to keep an eye on. And I think the way we're headed right now, society is not ready for what is going to happen. But at the same time, it's a huge opportunity to really make a change for good, to transform the way how we work, how we collaborate, and we are only in the beginning, and to make more room for what really counts, for connections. I don't need to sit down and write down what we said before, what we're talking about. AI can do that for me, so I can focus on our conversation. I can be there, I can be present, because all the administrative stuff will be done, and that will, for sure, I mean, we are all in a bubble, right? Like, as the HR people that were here, we're working in certain kind of jobs, right? But this will be the case for any job out there in the world. I had a time where I thought, okay, you know, like handcraft workers and all of these people, they won't be affected. But it's not true. If you don't master AI as a carpenter, you will be fucked. Because maybe you don't, you know, AI won't do that, but it will organize the way you interact with your clients and how your administrative stuff is organized. So we need to master that. And that's the only sale pitch we're having, if you need any help with that from a recruitment or AI perspective, find us on LinkedIn. If you have questions, we're here for you. Great, thank you.
No one?
I do, of course.
How was?
What about the AI Act? Is that something that is interesting to you? Is there any opinions on this one? What do you think? Because we are the only region in the world they are having right now an act on AI. What is your opinion on this one?
Do you want me to answer that? Or?
I can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the specific detail. I can give a high-level answer, and then maybe you follow it up. So it's very good. I mean, it's important. I mean, I think it educates us, and we need education, and we need people to have ethics, and we need people to have morale around this technology, because it is a beast. It is, and there's countries and there's people out there that are going to do all sorts of things with it, to be honest. As a governance of society, and as you know, as an Australian, I really believe in Europe. You know, I see huge possibilities in Europe, and part of the reason I like Europe is because of its diversity and different cultural backgrounds. I think it's the only place in the world with this amount of you know, proximity to other cultures and stuff. So, you know, to govern that and to do AI responsibly in that context is very important. Sorry? No, well, I mean, the reality is there is huge competition from the US and Asia that have a different approach to how they manage their AI, and we have to be aware of that as well, because, you know, we have to. And part of this presentation, this is a bit of a first time we're putting this presentation together, but I believe the sort of Thrive culture is unique to Europe, because I don't think US is going to adopt it, and I don't think Asia is going to adopt it. So, and when you think about growing global organizations, what better place do you have than Europe? Because, you know, you've got the proximity with all these different countries, so you can actually take your business and actually turn it into a global company at a better rate than something in the US. So there's a positive spin on how we remain competitive, and I'm looking forward. I think there's a lot of possibilities, and fundamentally, good governance is important.
I think too, like, regulation is needed. It's good as long as we don't over-regulate. I think how is it called? The German Anti-Discrimination Act is the perfect example for that. The idea is super necessary, it's so good that we don't discriminate no one. But if it leads to that companies are never allowed to give you any kind of feedback anymore, and they will just say, there were better ones, that's too much, right? So we need to find the balance. And then again, we have that opportunity in Europe, if we regulate it, to get the best people from the world to come here, because it's not, doing whatever it wants, because it's value-based and value-driven. Hopefully we'll find a way to get that done, to regulate it without over-regulation.
All right, thanks for your
Thank you.